better in that scene. Alright. Where my stuff back up? You probably didn't want to do the hashtag backline. Did that camera angle, probably. YouTube late on notifications. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. I was just watching a short little video while I was waiting for Deadpool to get in here. In the background of, I sometimes watch little random things about the Resident Evil 4 remake versus the original. And I realized something that I forgot about the original that just makes me laugh. And I'm going, yeah, that probably would have not went well in the remake. And once again, Leon looked cooler in that scene than Ashley would have. Anyway, either way, so. Christopher prepared. Is Tam King with you? No. He hasn't been on in a couple of days. He sent me a picture of Train Sim. I don't know if he's just been on Train Sim or what he's been doing. Maybe he's been kind of on the down low. I don't know. Still just me today. So we're, depending on if Darius wants to join. If not, I'm going to put it on public. We're going to be working with the Tech Marine today. I'm not putting it with bots. I'd rather put it with human bots than machine bots, at least in this situation. Because the machine bots in this situation are terrible. Usually the opposite could be pretty true in some cases, but not in this sense. So let's load in. Now, once I get some of the perks, it might be a little bit more reasonable for the bots to be with the Tech Marine, but it seems to always want to give me my Vanguard and my, what was it, my heavier? No, it was my tactical, I think. Instead of giving me, like, my Bulwark or one of the others. Let's go make sure we did everything. Equipment station, so that to get off last time. Got back kind of late today, just a crazy Sunday, but pretty good. Tomorrow I've got a doctor's appointment with my new doctor to set that part up and get that moving. Looks like I did everything. Doesn't look like there's any explanation marks or saying things like, hey, you need to fix this. So, I have the plasma finish one, I do not. But I do have the one on that needs to be finished. Okay. Alright. Now I have a question. Could all our combined U, B, and C, the Arknights have filled into E plus by 12 characters can keep us safe from being silly fate servants? I don't know enough about your fate servants, but if I remember correctly, aren't they all basically based on demigods and gods? If so, I doubt it. I mean, don't get me wrong, maybe the Wuwai ones could stand a little chance. Arknights are powerful, but really, if you think about it, they're powerful because of their technology and some of their abilities with the Originium and how that affects them and the arts that they know. But I still feel like you only really like gotcha characters that could stand up to fate at all would be Wuwa, considering aka Wuthering Waves for people who don't know what that means. Because Wuthering Wave characters are kind of also that crazy over the top level that could be arguably on a demigod status. So, let me put it like this. I have promoted, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, they're all crazy overpowered versions of inspirations of real life goddesses and gods. So, I don't think much would be fake. I really don't. Let's see. I'm gonna take a look at the mission terminal real quick. Engineers can go and the Ishtar are strong enough to wipe the observers. Yeah, see, that's why I don't think any. Since most of those characters from that game can probably fight the observers on their own level, I think that alone should answer the question on Arcanite's chances at anything. Once again, the only reason why they can even fight the observers, hashtag, is because of the Iridium tech. If it weren't for that, even then, they wouldn't even be able to do that, right? So, and the off chance that the observers might be something completely different now than what they started off as. So, but that's Arcanite's only real safety net, one could say. Oh, I've played that one before. It's where we had to fight the Hierophant. I remember that one. That's the train. I remember that one. So I did all these. These are the ones. We did this one recently. That was the Trigon. We haven't done this one yet.
The chaplain will be conducting morale inspections.
I don't
Do
think.
not disgrace the second company with a lapse in discipline.
This looks like it's a side version of what the main. Yeah, it shows that I haven't done this one. This looks like a side version of the very end of Titus's campaign, where you're trying to move the obelisks into place to be able to fight them on the change. This one I did with Darius. That's the one with the Mutalisk Beast. I haven't done that one yet. I haven't done this one yet. And I definitely haven't done that one yet. I don't think we'll get through all of these. We're gonna try to do. We'll at least try to do one each episode if I can, just to show off all the little maps as our main thing while we're upgrading the Tech Marine. We might switch classes every now and then, depending on how bad it gets. Because we're not turning private mode on this time. Even though I'm not going to be able to look for the data as easily without private mode on, I'll just do that on my own with a lesser level, like Mission 1. And do a class that I know I can fight on my own, even with the bot's stupidity. So. Of the because you know his instant kill concept of death move. This is not taking into account Seely's Cuckoo, who is stronger than all of them. Yeah, Cuckoo's on a broken level when it comes to that game. Still mad about that. still sadly sad about that. One of my dog got kryptonite. He's so weak in that game. not Cuckoo, but the one else is everything. But alright. we're gonna go with this one then. Do I want to try to do this with a tech grade though? It's freaking chaos. I mean, if we get a good team, it'll work, but it is still a bit worrisome. If I want to do normal missions, kind of burn through those, like that we haven't gotten to see in a while. We can try it. If it goes terrible, then I'll do some. We'll do it with one of my better classes, just so we can see the map. We're on average, so I want it more average. I mean, I need the gold, so average is at least more reasonable for getting some golden coins back. The armory data and all that, I've got quite a lot stored up, so I might not really need to worry about it and not really too much. So. Yeah. We're gonna try it. Bots on, but not private mode. That way, if I have to deal with them, I will. But it's better than being alone entirely, barely. Oh, they're already in there. Also heard they might be adding a new class to Space Marine 2. Perhaps the Apothecary or the Great Sword Champion. The Great Sword would be cool. Although a healer would be nice. A medic in this game would be nice. See, that if the bot was... If we got a bot that had that class, that might be okay. Because then it might actually heal me when I need it. So that way, even though it's not being aggressive, it can keep me alive. Ah. Oh.
I can restore this sentry to operational status. Changing magazine.
Why are we separate? Who am I supposed to be following? Wait. Oh, it goes second correct.
Long have the dead rested here. We must not allow them to be disturbed.
Something is not right here. The darkness itself has been made toxic. If that relic repels the darkness, it repels its ill effects. We bring it with us.
This holds the weight of generations. Carrying it will impair my combat prowess, brothers. The relic shall light our path.
Dalasa report!
We have not been delayed, despite the traitor's best efforts.
Make haste. The enemy seeks to disrupt the battlefield.
grow weary in this darkness. I will not fall. I will not.
Sangor spearmen encountered runs.
Sangor down! Changing magazine.
Entry beyond this point is restricted. Recite the name of proper sanction to proceed.
For the sake of the Imperium, let us seek a servo skull blessed with its knowledge. Once we find a functioning servo skull, we will have our way out. Here is a servo skull. I smell the it will have what we need. Every breath.
Omnissiah be with you, ministers. How may I serve?
We need this door opened.
Acknowledged. I will communicate the proper hymn.
No telling what surprise.
Hymn transmission in progress. Awaiting acceptance.
Rearming.
No turning back. Understood.
We see clearly again, brothers. The darkness can harm us no more. While our brothers fight back against the traitors, we must hurry to the device.
This tarantula is still battle worthy.
Ordnance away.
Servant goes straight to fragrance. We disrupted the call to arms.
Swapping magazine. The Emperor's might will crush you and we must disrupt the land attempts to move The strength of our will disrupts the traitor's plan. We keep close to this intent. When the land lines up, we advance.
Mutated wrench dispatched. Adjust your ocular module.
traitor leader terminated.
By the Emperor's grace, I
Solo gun is fully operational.
Another altar is reachable.
Oh, I see. I think
This
we
is
have to
not
stop.
a path we can take.
Yeah,
we
have to
need the
stop.
lands to rotate further.
The line is moving across. No, it's not that one.
We must try again to align the islands. We have a path across.
Ah! Shot. There we go, that's
The land attempts to restore itself. The strength of our will disrupts the traitor's plan. We keep close to this altar. When the land lines up, we advance. Our way to the next island is...
There's a sorcerer out here.
Our route is clear, brothers. Let us send these obscenities back to the void they crawled from.
Uh-oh.
Rearming.
Keep moving.
We must remove his shield from our way if we are to eliminate this sorcerer. This traitor has called forth orbs corrupted by the war.
Those eyes provide energy for the sorcerer's protection. We cannot slay him while they exist.
Activating Tarantula sentry gun.
This heretic is untouchable until we eliminate those malignant agents.
Shiny claws weakens the barrier. We must blind them all.
Try to get both these circles.
The orbs will no doubt reappear, and we stand ready.
Fresh ammunition acquired.
The altar returns.
Gunstrike ready to deploy.
Wait for the eyes to reappear, then we strike. We can see the targets again. Shatter them all.
repurposing battlefield. Let us purge this deceiver from our son. The sorcerer thinks the fallen and let us no longer suffer the existence of this traitor.
Here's where your lies and your life end, blasphemer. Now we deal a blow to all of that heretic's ilk. Realign the obelisk replica on the control console.
Tawassa, report. We have stared into the abyss and found it could not meet our gaze.
Oh well. Let's see what the class gun power is. Oh yeah, the one that Gilliman has. Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm trying to think of another one that would be interesting. A Terminator, yeah, that'd be a super heavy, right? I feel like if you added a Terminator, though, you'd make the heavy lose its playability. And there'd be no reason to be a heavy if you added a Terminator. Because essentially, that's just a super heavy. Because it's got bigger and badder guns than the heavy can do. So, and better melee. I came in at the end of that mission, apparently. I didn't even see the whole thing. Almost 2 levels. The next one might be 2 levels. Reinforced position. Oh, they found armory data while they were running around. Uh-oh, something went wrong. Hopefully it takes me back to my ship. Probably because it was trying to put me on their ship, I assume. Yeah. Luckily, that's not a problem anymore. I remember that used to be a problem where you get stuck in limbo when it was saying joining server because you got kicked back to your own ship, but it wouldn't load for some reason. So at least that's not a thing anymore. That's kind of what Dark Tide feels like right now with that other bug it's got going on, because the only way to reset it is to quit the game, like this one used to be like. See, because host left the game, yeah. Wonderful. The heck? Probably kicked me off the ship. Oh well. That's the only other thing is, like, I do think that it's kind of silly it forces people into each other's ship. I think it should just send you back to your ship by default unless you're partied up with someone and you invited them. Because it does seem like you have to wait through a ton of loading screens if you're not host. Yeah, see? That's alright. Guess they didn't like having the tech marine on their ship.
I lack the locomotion to hover over each of
The irony is I joined and one of them already had died once and died again. The other one I don't know, I didn't get to see if he went down at all for the tactical. The Raptor went down a couple times. Raptor Assault. Hey, so that's that one. Destroy 150 loot boxes. And we finished all the turrets. As a tech marine, activate 15 sentry turrets. As a tech marine, kill enemies with sentry turrets. It's already almost at 400. That's how crazy that thing is. I would admit the turret itself is really good, especially when you're in a proper squad. Like you saw my 2 turrets obliterated that sorcerer in seconds. So I find that kind of funny. Let's see, eliminate extremist enemies in operation mode. Technically out of 31 out of 50, but we completed the 25 out of 25. Alright, let's look at our tech tree. So we have them all unlocked. This is the issue: is I need all this gold for all these different things. Damage from charged melee attacks increased. After using equipment, your range damage. See, that's the one I probably want. All squad members within 15 meters of an active tarantula sentry gun take 30% less damage. That's pretty good though. A good trade-off. More armored HP, slower and unable to dodge. Yeah, that's true. See, Terminator uses a different heavy loadout than the heavy and will be unable to dodge. I still don't know. I mean, yeah, I get it uses a different loadout, but think about this. So what would you rather have? And I mean, maybe you and I might be a little bit more different because we like the standard heavy bolter and all that. Because it's just cool looking. But what would you rather have? A Terminator who can have a literal minigun? Or just some random heavy bolter? Plus, it's gonna get better, like, probably, I forgot what its other ones were able, like, the plasma on it's larger. I don't know. I do think that its loadout is similar enough that that's gonna be the biggest issue. It may be different, but I don't think it's different enough. The non-dodging thing, that's true. But if it's super tanky, because how else are you gonna make anyone want to play it? If it's not able to dodge, but it just gets ripped apart. I don't know. It'd be one of those like hard trade-offs. Like, how could you balance that without it becoming too good, even without the dodge? Because you have to make it tanky enough for people to want to enjoy it, but not tanky enough to break the game. And that's not an easy medium to find in the middle. Plus, once again, it's going to have no matter what it's equipped with, it's going to have a better melee than the heavy is as well. Because the heavy doesn't get a melee. Whereas just its fists are its melee, technically. Like how big a Terminator is, just it punching something could be a melee. And that would be probably good enough. Even if it didn't really have a power fist. It's just bigger, so it's like, well, that's more weight, so technically it's more damage. Check my gun real quick. Yeah, because we're trying to get this. That's why I didn't want to spend yet, because I need to upgrade my gun. So let's go with the one that has less ammo first. It's gonna be a little more annoying. It's more accurate. But for an automatic, like when you have like basically a heavy machine gun in your hand, which is what this kind of represents, it feels like when I'm shooting it. Having less ammo is never usually a good thing. So we'll go with this one. That way we get more points towards the artificer side of the tree. Was I going up or staying on the bottom? Reloads faster. Damage increase in terminus. Headshot damage. After killing a Majora's level or higher enemy with a melee weapon, headshot. So I see why I stayed on the bottom. Plus we don't get that many gun choices in this thing, so we should probably be very careful what we choose. So we're just gonna stay on the bottom lane for this. After killing 7 enemies in Rapazusi, yeah, it's gonna be an absolute, basically, tiny light machine gun after I get all these upgraded. And then it gets more ammo reserve, which would be nice in general. Yeah, see, bottom line is definitely better for this gun. Plasma get there, but I don't think it got any love, did it? It got a little bit. I don't have points to get that anyways yet. Alright. Just stick with the natural leveling up on that. That's halfway. So we have to have enough for that one. That one's gonna be only good for just keeping me alive. Because it's got a better defense, because I'll have fencing, which means the parry window is gonna be massive. Which is nice, for considering this thing does not like the melee, it is not very good at it. So really all you really care about for your melee is just counter-attacking, instead of really using it to go after a target. So, it will actually kind of, in a way, maybe actually be easier than this one is. Even though this one's clearly got the better damage set up and all that, except for the blocking. And then here, oh, that one's gonna be nasty. We're doing that one first when we get to here, just to get it out of the way. Then we'll jump to this one. That one's actually pretty good, because once you get cleaving, since there's only one attack that attacks multiple enemies, cleaving means nothing for this thing. So, that's actually a pretty good one. Okay, that one's just the best of both worlds. We'll do that one last. So this one, when we get to this level, we'll do this one first, as that's the worst one. Then this one is second best. And then this one is the best last. And then same thing for the other area too. Alright. Actually, looking at it, heavy is screwed. Best way to save the heavy is give it more weapons like blast cannons, grav gun, fire. Yeah, I do think it needs more guns. Yeah, let's take a quick look at it while we're here, before I go on to the next mission. Because I do want to observe it real quick and why I think that it would be absolutely screwed if we added the Terminators. Okay, so one. Alright, so there's no third weapon option. I feel like this should be something. I don't know what you can make this. I'm trying to think, dude, like, is there something the heavies could have that's it's not necessarily a melee, but it's better than just kicking things and stomping. But so this right here is also why they have very little weapons they can choose. You can either have, which is probably the best of both worlds as far as speed and doing damage, but you either get stuck with a heavy bolt rifle, the standard heavy bolter, which is its main. This is the vanilla, like when you think of a heavy space marine, you think of these. And then the secondary thing that comes to mind is the big boy heavy plasma incinerator, which I haven't worked on at all, apparently. You can tell I do not play heavy, by the way. Look at this. Nothing there. Only gotten up to green on this one. Nothing there. Nothing. Okay, I finished standard, but I didn't get anything in the master crafting. I must be like 1 point off from that becoming master crafting. Kind of weird I can't do that. Like, why is it not letting me unlock it? But, and then of course the heavy flamer. But as you can see, once again, I've done none of these. I've touched none of this. Because the heavy is way worse than what I'm dealing with the Tech Marine when it comes to teammates. Less so than the bots, but teammates and bots. Bots mostly because the bots will not defend me and I'll have to gun down everything. Hope I don't run out of ammo. And hope I survive. Then once again, no melee. I mean, the secondary is the secondary. It's got the same secondaries. And also, it doesn't actually have a lot of secondaries. You know what it could use, and I really feel like it needs it? Maybe its secondary should have, much like the assault got, for this reason. Maybe it should have the one-handed bolt. So that way you have a more aggressive secondary that has more bullets in it. So when you run out of your big boy, you at least have something to fall back on until you get to your next ammo depot to get all that bullets back. That might actually make it a little bit more playable that way. Because otherwise all you got is plasma choice, inferno pistol, which is the shotgun we were working with, the heavy bolt pistol, and of course regular bolt pistol. I feel like this is redundant. This should not be here at all. There's no point to this. I feel like this should either be the one-handed bolter or even the laser gun, even though I think it doesn't get enough ammo either. The little phaser gun, the Voltic pistol. But I still think the go-to change here should be this should definitely be the one-handed bolter. I mean, it's a heavy. You're gonna tell me that the thing that can lift the heavy bolter easily and fire it could one hand a bolter? Just saying. As a sidearm, just for game purposes. And this is a nightmare. This is good if it's leveled up. I think this would be a good alternative if you're getting caught up by a lot of melees. This is the best go-to situation. Either that or this. But I would never run either of these as the heavy. These two are not enough. This one's at least better. This is just pointless. But it's like I would always run these two. This for close encounter situations, so that way even if I run out of ammo, or if I'm in a situation where all the melees are running at me like the Tech Marine was having an issue with, I can at least go and maybe take down a couple of them and put them in execution style to build up my armor and get some of them off of me. And give me a chance to get some ammo or open back up with the big gun. Same thing with this. This is a little harder to use in that situation because you really need to know your charge rate and be good with it. So. Oh yeah, because here's what the Terminator gets. To compare what we just saw, so let's go to my primary and then I'm going to read what Farseer said here. To compare here. So I'm gonna go through this one again and then read what the Terminator, or what's it called, gets instead. So, heavy bolt rifle, heavy bolter, heavy plasma incinerator, multi-melta, and of course the pyro cannon, which is a flamethrower. Okay, so let's read what the what the Terminator gets. Assault cannon, storm bolters, which is in the fist, plasma destroyer, and still gets the heavy flamer, melee power claws, a hammer, and a shield, or a sword and shield. I don't think they do a sword, but they definitely do the hammer. Like, since the bulwark is the sword and shield, but I bet you they would do the hammer one. Or the claw one, like you said, because there is no claw in here. There's the power fist, but not the power claw. Which I think that's a little dastardly, because some of the space wolves have power claws instead of power fists. So kind of sad they don't have an option for that for them. So that would open that up even. But it's like yeah, you're right on that. That's why I was saying it would be no one would play the heavy if that thing was in here. Because at least then you could say, and here's the thing with the hammer and shield too. Let's say you wanted a more tankier version, even if it couldn't parry. Let's say you take away its parry as well. It could definitely block. It'd probably be the best actual reason to have a block weapon in the game. Because then you can block with the shield and smack them in the face with the hammer. Kind of like I used to do with Space Hulk. I think that was what it was called. The one where you play the... oh. Why can't I remember? The one where you play the Dark Age of Terminators. So, when you're on board the Space Hulks and all that. It's like, I think that was what the game was called. It's like, you would just do that. Storm Bolter is a one-handed dual-barrel machine gun pistol bolter. Yeah, I know it is. Plus, but I think they can get them in their fists in those versions in some of them too, which making it even more handy. And that could be its secondary. Think about that, because that's smaller. You could that would be its secondary and not its primary for a gun build. So technically, realistically, you could have an assault cannon or any of the other bigger guns and still have the Storm Bolter. Which is weird why, by the way, that's not in this game. Right? Hold on. Does Tactical get one? No? Is it a primary? No, that's the Carbine. So yeah, that's very strange. So there's not even a Storm Bolter in this game anyway, so that, once again, seems a little strange. That also would be a good help for the Heavy, even though that's better for the Terminator, obviously. That'd be a good call for the Heavy to have, too, as a good secondary. Just like I said with the, if you didn't want to give him the one-handed regular bolter, bro, where's the Storm Bolters at? It's like, it seems very strange. This is not coming. The missile launcher and the teleporter backpack. Yeah, that would be too much at that point. If you're going to give it a teleporter backpack, it's definitely going to end up erasing the Heavy as even a possibility as anyone playing it. I mean, the rocket launcher erases anything. That would make it more played than a lot of classes rather than just comparing it to the Heavy, because nothing has a rocket launcher in this game. So if it had that, you'd be able to like clear whole little like groups of enemies in one fell swoop. Like, it definitely would probably be extremely, almost impossible to balance that thing. I mean, the Terminator alone is like that, but that would make it way worse. But now, I do think the other options we talked about, like the Apothecary, the Great Sword variants, those would be different enough. A Grey Knight, maybe, but part of me is like, would that be also too overpowered because it's like the Psyker version? Because we really don't have a I'm gonna say it like it is, because Psychers are basically mages, and Grey Knights have some of these abilities. A mage Space Marine, would that even, that might be too hard to balance as well without people just playing that all the time. So, Grey Knight may be pushing it. So, but that's technically a missing class. But I think the Great Sword and the Apothecary are probably would be the most likely candidates if they were adding another class of Marine in here. Apothecary will be the most wanted because Healer, also Librarian on Space Marines. So Librarians. That'd be the safer one then. Because I do think Grey Knights are too strong. So I feel like then the Librarian is the best bet. I kind of forgot that they did have a separate, smaller level class for that. It's not broken. So I would say Librarian then, because there's definitely not Librarian. So wanted like is there one that could be like our basically it would be the Psyker for this game like it is in Dark Tide, although it is just called Psyker in Dark Tide. It's not no Space Marine level, it's just normal. But the Librarian would be a good call. I think that and the Apothecary are the most likely. The Great Sword one, if they wanted a two-handed crazy melee that's slower but does more damage and can cleave larger groups better than the Bulwark can do, but that might make the Bulwark a little contested. It's like, not as bad, because then it would just be preference. Do you want something that you can be more defensive and offensive with, or do you want to just swing the sword? So, but I think Librarian and Apothecary would be the most likely answer. Great Swords are wielded by champions, not Grey Knights. Oh, I know they're not, but the Grey Knights have like a lance. There's no lances in here, save for the Tech Marine, which is, this don't count, that's terrible. I do wish it fought kind of like a Grey Knight Lance wielder as far as animation. Maybe not strength-wise, but I think the Tech Marine's melee would be more fun if it fought like a Grey Knight with a lance. But once again, I still think Grey Knights are just too strong in general. It's not really about the weapon they're wielding. Because realistically, Grey Knights have multiple things that they have. So that's why they might just be too good in general to add them to the point that they would erase almost all the classes' playability, depending on how good it is. So, but if they add another one, my money's on Librarian or Apothecary. That's the most likeliest cases. Alright, let's get in here. Alright, so we completed you. We did yours. We did yours. So now it'd be 11. Where we're going to be aboard the Dauntless class cruiser, Wrath of Espendor. It has been overrun by Tyranid organisms from the nearby Hive Fleet. Destabilize the ship's reactor. Yeah, so we're basically meant to, I assume we're meant to get this thing into the middle of the Hive Fleet and detonate the entire ship. Essentially. And then this one is stopping some sort of ritual for the Thousand Suns. This is reclaim a Mechanicus facility in the swamps and secure Nozick's research. Alright. Grey Knights are strong in general. Don't let the Space Marines that beat them. So what do you mean they're strong? He's like, we won. But anyways. But I do think the most likeliest candidates would be Librarian and Apothecary. One, there's no medic. And the Apothecary, or the Librarian would literally just be a mage class. Just like the Psyker is in Dark Tide. So, just a bigger and nastier version. Alright, let's try to go for this one, see what happens. See if anybody's doing this mission. See, that's also my worry with this game because it's on and off because it's an older game. It's like, but somehow unlike Dark Tide doesn't seem to have it so easily of matchmaking because there's not as many people doing different things. And that's because there's events in Dark Tide a lot more that I think draw people in it. So a lot more people are still playing levels. I can start with the boss and hope someone joins. Also, let me know if Darius wants to hop on or not, or if you can. I'll just start this and see if hopefully see if someone joins up. But gotta feel bad for the Grey Knights. Oh, how was it my idea of following their reputation? Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, that's a good point. They did used to be known as until a certain incident happened. So they did used to be known as the quintessential badasses of all of the Space Marines. Now, not so much. I'll let it sit here for a second, see if anybody joins. Joining in him. They should be joining. Let's stand here. Them losing to the Space Wolves? Yeah, that's why I didn't say it. I knew which one did it. One of my other favorites, but I was like, yeah, what Grey Knights. I'm dead left. We'll have a box now. Focus on the mission. It's like you said, it's like it started with the space wolves, and then it just kept getting worse. They kept taking L's in different places. The wolves were just the beginning. What was Black Legion first? I don't
37 hours, 12 minutes ago, the Imperial cruiser Wrath of Espandor, in orbit around Avarax, transmitted a distress beacon and then went silent. Intelligence suggests the ship now plays host to Tyranid parasites, and the reported damage exceeds reclamation standards. If we cannot reclaim the ship, then we will unleash the Wrath of Espandor's full, destructive potential directly into the Xenos Hive fleet. The value of the Wrath of Espandor is twofold. Its cyclonic arsenal and its proximity to several Tyranid war vessels. Combat Squad Phaedrus is already on board and is the tip of the spear. Additional squads are inbound to secure objectives. Make your way to the Ordnance Depot and take control of the plasma cores.
A poetic fate considering the vessel's namesake.
Talassa, this is Combat Squad Phaedrus. Breach via any existent openings you find.
We follow your lead, Phaedrus.
Progress towards the Ordnance Depot. We will rendezvous with you and Combat Squad Heraton there. Remain vigilant. The Xenos infestation goes deep in this ship.
Phaedrus cleaved a clear path through, and so shall we. Brothers, there is killing to be done in the name of the Emperor.
Reality war here.
The Xenos sully all they touch with their blasphemy. This place crawls with Xenos abominations.
Multiple contacts swarming our locus. What is your status, Talassa?
Nothing we cannot handle, Phaedrus.
Good. We have drawn their focus. Keep...
Phaedrus, your last message was interrupted.
down there.
Xenos organisms incoming. Check your war gear.
Where are we supposed
Replenishing ordnance.
Xenos are but a ball of pincers.
Where are we supposed to go? Are we supposed to jump down? No? This is confusing. Let's go this way. It's gotta be over here then. Yep.
Talassa, Combat Squad Heraton reporting. We lost Vox contact with Combat Squad Phaedrus. Do you know their status? Our Vox link was interrupted a short while ago. We must consider our brothers lost then. Our objective is to secure the Psychonic warheads at all costs. Encountering heavy Tyranid resistance.
Heraton, may the Emperor grant you the blessing of his glorious hatred. Punishment.
We can yet turn this loss into a victory. Servo gun is fully operational.
The swarm is led by primes.
Turn up here.
The weapons of an Imperial vessel are always in awe-inspiring sight. To serve here carries the highest privilege. To deliver the Emperor's violent retribution.
Sniper gun. Oh.
Frag grenade out.
The world has seen of souls consumed without
Combat Squad Heraton reporting in. The bridge is lost, as are my squad brothers. I am cut off from our planned route to the Ordnance Depot. Calculating a new route based on your report, Heraton. Standing by. Be advised. The cruiser's crew managed to execute security protocols before they were overrun by the Xenos brood. All specs indicates bio-form organism. Incoming swarm arms confirmed.
Oh, I see. Bro, I hate these things. Why are they so durable?
Does your aiming system need recalibration?
Alright, let's go.
Cycling cartridges.
Oh, heal on the next one. Let me let my armor come back when we get down. I gotta learn how to fight fire wars better.
Waiting on you. Talassa, commune with the main console in front of you to bypass the security protocols.
Or ammo.
Stim injectors here.
The lift platform is in transit. Arrival pending.
We descend to bring light to the darkness.
The hardest gun available. Attention boarding parties. We have confirmation that Combat Squad Phaedrus is lost. I need a mission status update from all remaining combat squads. Combat Squad Heraton here. Redirecting along newly advised path. Combat Squad Octavio reporting in. Cyclonic armament secured for now. Talassa, you are nearing the reactor cooling hall. Report on its condition when you arrive. Fragmentation grenades aboard! My servo-harness gun will handle this. I'm reloading. No turning back. Understood.
Cooling hole looks like a Xenos hive. Smells like one too.
All squads, we have updated our battle stratagems. Heraton, reinforce Octavio and protect the cyclonic armaments. Talassa, your new orders are to destabilize the reactor, cause a temperature spike, and the Tyranids may redirect their assault to you, buying Heraton and Octavio some time to prime the armaments. When you reach the reactor's cooling console, disable the emergency blast shields. Stim apparatus flat.
My war gear is set.
Servo gun is fully operational. Emergency blast shields retracting. Warning. Coolant rods exposed.
Destroy the exposed.
Talassa, I need you to disable the entire cooling array. Concentrate fire on the exposed cooling rods.
Auspex is highlighting vulnerable points.
Storm, do not let that one conquer you.
Oh, no. Dang it.
Meaningless. Jump back with you.
Gentle. Unleash your wrath.
Alright, let's go. I'll follow him. Where I'm sticking over near the team.
I shall summon your poor age rolling so long.
Silence the enemy. Request backup. Servo-harness gun available.
Reloading ammunition. Ammunition restocked.
Identify blockages and remove Xenos organisms.
Target acquired. Target destroyed. Acquiring next.
Registering extreme temperature fluctuation. Plasma cooling efficacy severely reduced. Excellent, Talassa. You will need to repeat the same process at the second array. Access granted to the bridge console. Xenos Alpha Beast eradicated.
Preparing disciplinary report.
Oh, Okay, my go-to. Yeah, that's you like this.
I can restore this sentry to operational status. Enemy units call for backup. The servo gun is fully operational. Stealthy Xenos detected. Stealth-based Xenos revealed and removed.
Reloading magazine. No rods remain active.
Temperatures at critical level. Plasma reactors shutting down to prevent catastrophic detonation. Talassa, do not let the reactors cool down. This cruiser will soon perform its final task. Proceed to the decks below and force the plasma reactors to overheat.
Moving to objective below current location.
Talassa, have you received word from our brother in Combat Squad Heraton? His approach vector should have taken him through the technical underbelly.
No transmissions from Combat Squad Heraton received.
Understood. Be advised, we remain under heavy Tyranid assault.
Expectation. Tyranid will withdraw from your locus, allowing you time to extract.
This is ill-advised, Talassa. If you do not rig the reactor to detonate, the cyclonic warheads will be wasted. Combat Squad Octavio will redouble our efforts to draw the Tyranids away from your position instead.
Octavio, unleash the Emperor's wrath on these food-born vermin.
Cycling cartridges.
Stim shot injected.
Formidable Tyranid organism terminated.
Take flight! Avenging angel at your disposal.
Refreshing armaments. Tactical supplies located. Gunstrike ready to deploy.
For the Emperor!
Activating Tarantula sentry gun.
Talassa, we have lost contact with Heraton leader, and Octavio is pinned down. You must destabilize the plasma reactor. Our brothers from Phaedrus and Heraton shall not have died in vain.
Talassa, readying to overload plasma core. Observation logged. Numerous dead servitors.
Attention. Authorized personnel only beyond this point. Provide sufficient ocular scan authorization in order to proceed. Security protocols dictate that only clade principal servitors have entry authorization.
Locate the leader servitor so we may scan the eyes.
Restoring sentry to battle-ready status.
Checking remains. Scan the servitors for sufficient ocular credentials. Biometric security codes recovered.
My turn on the other side of the shoot.
Shut down their call for reinforcements. Ocular biometrics confirmed. Maintenance clade Delta Mu 2839. Access granted.
To the plasma reactor.
Primary objective ahead. Stim cache here.
I'm good on ammo. Okay, Dan.
Multiple primes. That reactor must be destroyed. Honor our brothers. Honor our chapter in grasp.
Aerial strike imminent.
Frag detonator up. Targeting requires maintenance.
Jump back.
Practical. Shot searches.
Suffer your poor aim for only so long.
I am being
Inserting fresh magazines.
self-trio.
Enlist is out.
Oh,
Keep your eyes up. Server harness gun available.
oh, I'm
Automated weapon engaged. Replenishing ordnance. Throwing frag.
one down.
One target down. Remaining target enraged.
Perhaps one prime is twice as vicious as two.
we sully this ship no more.
Now, engage the console to cripple the reactor. And Talassa, when those magnetic stabilizers stop, prepare for rapid egress.
Be advised, the gyroscopic containment shielding prevents catastrophic plasma dispersal. Plasma cores are now exposed. Caution advised.
Reactor critical, Talassa. Disengage!
Main hourglass runs empty.
Talassa, we're tracking your signatures. Octavio and Heraton Leader are already on board. Our brothers prevailed.
Evacuation protocols initiated. All crews report to ship leaders. Follow the designated evacuation routes immediately.
Deliverance ahead, brothers.
Hurry! The cruiser has begun breaking apart. We will wait as long as we can.
Make haste, pilot.
Brace for turbulence. If not for your valor, Talassa, this operation would have ended in a major loss for the Imperium.
Many of us died in service of the Emperor this day, Captain.
This hard-fought victory cost us dearly indeed. The wrath of Espandor's retribution shall rip into the Tyranid fleet with searing, bitter fury. Our honored dead take solace that they have been avenged.
So it's been 5 more minutes to get through that. By the way, I saw a funny post on Dark Tide Reddit saying the next antagonist should be Typhus the Wanderer.
I must increase lethality settings.
Kill 5 or more enemies with a single frag grenade. The grenades are definitely the tech Marines go to for hordes. Just stabilize and shoot straight out. Nice. Yeah, I want that one now. That servo gun is very MVP, and also, that's when you don't have grenades to kind of clear out a lot of hordes. I think they just left, but it's okay. Enemies hit by servo gun take 15% more damage in 10 seconds. That's awesome. Pretty good. Before I do that, though, 60, I would need to do one more mission no matter what to get enough gold to unlock the other acts. Light combo attacks with this weapon? Yeah, that's why I like this weapon. Okay. Melee attack speed increase. Killing 7 enemies in rapid succession with light combo, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits. You cannot be knocked back for 5 seconds. How many versions of the weapon are there? There's only one more. So ironically, you can tell that you're going to have to be really careful with this one because we don't even have enough greens to get us through here completely. We would need one more green to guarantee we could do this, like, mostly this whole board without having to go into the purple weapons to do it. So after power discharge, I need to learn my combos with it. Because I did notice there's a little shock attack you can do with it, but I'm not sure what part of the chain you have to do your heavy to cause it to happen. After power discharge, the next light attack is a powerful. Okay, we need to figure out how to do that. When we get there, we need to figure out how to do that. See, if we can get up to this point, this thing may actually start to become kind of reliable after it. I would still need to know the attack chain to spam that when I'm in when I'm surrounded for melee exits. But yeah, alright, so we're gonna need that anyways. Go back to the perk tree, I'm gonna go ahead and get my servo gun unlocked. So now, not only does it recharge faster, but enemies take more damage after being hit by it by 15% from any of my other types of damage. So that makes my other 2 ranged weapons a lot more reliable. The other thing I need to get, when I see it, I would leave me with 15 plus 55 would be 65. I need 60, right? Yeah, okay, so I can still get that without having to not spend that. So let's go ahead and also get this. So enemies take 15% more damage after I toss a grenade into the pile. They all become more vulnerable. Cool. Alright. Also got some shoulder DLC. It's interesting that technically I can build, like, other variants as long as I have them unlocked. But still need the space wolf to be in tech. So this is the regular Tech Marine one, this is the Iron Hands one. This is also a regular Tech Marine shoulder. What sucks about this one, I think Eternal War is PvP, isn't it? Oh no, it says I can do it in operations mode. So this will get unlocked eventually. Even though I already have the best one probably here anyways. I mean, the in-game ones aren't bad. Tech Marine does seem to have the best in-game ones that you can unlock. But we're just gonna stick with that. Alright. Yeah, they left. A lot of people will stick around. Do they want everyone on the Morningstar to die? Do they want the planet corrupted by Nurgle? Because Typhus is not only a Death Guard. I know Plague Marine. He's the Death Guard. He is the Death Guard Plague Marine. Oh, I know. Nurgle's champion, someone need more than Space Marines for. Yeah, he ain't no joke. That's probably one of Nurgle's most reliable characters. I only know who he is because someone built a version of him. Well, their own custom version of him for like the. I think he has a standard model for tabletop, but someone made their own version of him. But he's pretty scary. If you're gonna bring in the Death Guard, I don't think they should bring in that heavy of a Death Guard presence. It's like, bro, just a regular Death Guard would be scary enough. Just a single regular one. Standard run of the mill. It's like, dude, just bring in Typhus. And I'm like, bro, you trying to destroy the entire Morningstar? It's literally, I'm pretty sure, single-handedly he could destroy that entire ship. Wouldn't need a squad either. Maybe on a stroll, it'd be like a walk. He'd be on like a morning Sunday walk on the Morningstar. It wouldn't be a battle. It definitely wouldn't be a battle. Let's look at this. Alright, so we've done all these up. Now we're up to the hard ones. The ones that are technically both Chaos and Tyranid. The fight will be us doing negative damage as he's doing the slowest motion walk. Yeah, he would, like I said, he wouldn't have to do anything in a rush. He could literally aura farm you as he's just walking towards you, and we're hitting him with everything we've got, all of the abilities and everything, and he's doing it. It would literally be like, what? No, let me put it this way, and put it in like also Matrix terms. This would be like fighting Agent Smith with that guy who betrayed their group. Right, betrayed Neo, the one that wanted the stake to go back into the Matrix. It's like that's instant death. Well, if he so chose. But he'd just be walking forward, and as he got near you, just grab you, whatever way, just instant. And then the others have to watch as this happens, and then he just continues walking towards the rest of them. And then at some point, they'd probably just give up on trying to fight him, run from him, and just blow up the ship. And hope it kills him. And that's not fun. That is not a fun situation. He can take his sweetest time, and we'll all be dead, exactly. And like I said, I don't even think blowing up the ship would technically kill him. Especially being Nurgle, one of Nurgle's champions. Siege and Nurgle champions are some of the more annoying ones as far as survivability. Siege cheats because he can just break them back. Nurgle is, well, the quintessential super zombie slash plague monster. Resident Evil representative. The Umbrella Lord. Of all of that. So any of his champions like that, like Typhus, if I had to equate this to Resident Evil, this is Wesker on literally a planet full of steroids. Like a planet full of T-virus upgrades. And I am not joking. It's like, good luck with that. Let's see, not ultramarine blue, worse. Let's see, worse him being there might attract some blue attention. Oh yeah, no, I know what you mean. That might literally bring in the other one who you don't want on the Morning Star. Should just said one of his champions would be just as terrible. James would try everything to kill him though, even though it wouldn't win. As far as playing that game, if they did. Then quickly realizing without his siege warrior, without his rubric champions, aka a certain one specifically, he ain't winning. Siege and Nurgle are fighting, so we'll get Aura Farm from both. Yep, from both angles. Yep. Because you can imagine if it's Typhus, you know who that means probably is going to show up. You should just evacuate at that point. I mean, you should evacuate if Typhus got on board that ship in general. Just him alone. But if the other one that would be on his level showed up, just jettison yourself out there. Look at that point. It's probably better than what's going to happen if you stick around. Like, even the Space Marines, like, would look at that and go, yeah, good luck. Is he jettisoning won't save you because we're gonna rewind time. Chris to stop you from doing. Okay, that's true. It's your best bet. You just have to hope he didn't notice you do it. That he's too busy fighting his actual competition on the ship. That you're definitely not in. But like I said, that's a pure RNG situation where whatever you try to do to get out of there, you better hope they're so distracted with each other that they ain't paying you no mind. Although, in that situation, because I'm not a fan of Nurgle at all, I probably would be rooting for the Blue Boys. Like in that situation, since I don't have the other choices, yeah, nah. I hope Typhus loses that. I guess the other best bet is you better learn how to be a part of chaos real quick. Whichever version you choose, which once again for me, I'd be like, I'd rather be turned into I don't even care if it's somewhat mindless. I'd rather be turned into the quintessential of a crystal marine and just be repeated over and over and over and over again than dealing with that as a as anything, or even getting turned into some traitor guardsman. Sure, I'm probably going to still last about maybe 10 seconds. But at least maybe I have a slightly better chance with, you know, the blue boys at least being there. Doesn't mean too much, Lily, in some cases. Just because it's not like they're going to protect their own cannon fodder, which is what you would 100% become. So it's like, yeesh. Psyker is hyper screwed. Oh, yeah! The Psyker ain't getting off that ship. That's... Yeah, I wouldn't want to be. I would not want to be Liliana in that situation. Because remember, I did my Psyker Liliana. She'd be absolutely doomed if that had happened. I'm trying to think what time is it. It's already 7:43. What do you think, Jack? Should we save the last two for later this week? I would say we should probably switch back to Dark Tide tomorrow when I get back from my doctor appointment. Just for the pure fact of I don't want to go too far and get too good and end up being kind of a swiping sword. Unless Darius wants to get on right now and do one more, but I'd say for now with the randoms we've just went with, which luckily wasn't too bad. Still better than the bots. Even if they're not doing great, I'd still rather have the randoms than the bots. It clearly is better than the bots, because once again, the game understands there's two other real players, so it doesn't send everything at me. So I have time to kind of tactically engage and choose my moves, whether I toss a grenade, activate the servo gun, just gun them down with my plasma, which now I realize I'm not changing that plasma. That plasma is permanently a part of this class's build for me. Because that thing is like better than my melee when it comes to fighting the melees, because I can just overcharge it, fire it twice, and almost, well, at least on average anyways, overcharge it and take down one of the sword Tyranid in like 2 hits, and put it in execution status. But I do like it when it's with a squad. I will admit, I still stand by what I said with the bots, because the bots don't get seen by the enemy. It is definitely terrible on its own, and cannot fight with bots, because it needs that extra little distraction in order to keep it efficient. But as far as like with a team, with a team, I would say it's definitely the better one. I wish he didn't turn. What if I point there behind me? He looks down. It's like as far as the bots, like I definitely would never play this class with bots. At least not till it's almost maxed out. And I'll start getting some of those prestige perks that you get, which I haven't gotten to see any of those yet. I need to do that with my bulwark, but I'm waiting till I can have some more people reliably to play with, and hopefully like 10 people get on this week. I'm thinking we should wait till Wednesday or Thursday. Let me see if make sure that's what James said this time. He sent me a message. When I asked him, it was Saturday, because I thought it was Saturday. Yeah, Wednesday or Thursday. So, I'm thinking, let's see if he gets on here in between there. I'll help him off camera, get his class going again, and get him used to it if he wants, and we'll jump on some of the earlier stages that are a little bit more manageable. Just get some free points off of that in the background for my Tech Marine, but unless he wants to be the Tech Marine. I know he wants to try it, which in that case I'll just work on my swords, or either my chain sword or my power sword. Just try to get up towards some heroic setup, so then I can do Havoc and unlock the ones I want. But switch to Dark Tide. Also, should they add an Imperial Guard reminder? That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? I don't think that gets talked about much. I mean, it'd definitely be different. If you're talking about Darktide, I assume you don't think you'd want to put one Imperial Guard anything into this game, but, yeah. I mean, it would definitely be a different class than what you'd normally be used to. Be a surprise, too, and maybe it would promote the class a little bit. I feel like no one really talks about Imperial Guard Diviners. But, so what we'll do then is we'll do Darktide tomorrow instead of more Space Marine 2. And, we'll pick this back up for Space Marine anyways on Wednesday or Thursday, whichever day James gets here. Because I do want to kind of get going with Darktide, because we got to get ready to do our other thing that I have ready to download, but I need space for it. So at some point I have to decide how I'm going to handle this, and how, like, realistically committed we're going to be to Darktide and Space Marine 2 at some point. I'll try to keep Space Marine 2 for a little longer, since we've done Darktide already longest. But we need to finish off our two classes. I'm going to get Ikit a little higher level tonight, and then maybe work on Liliana a little bit in the background, just make sure they're ready for this week, so we can finish them off by this week. To at least get them to 30 and stuff like that. I don't know if I'll break in them as far as I did like my Mechanicus and trying to get all the challenges done and everything, which I still need to finish that off camera too, and I need to not forget that. And now that the other one got reduced and I can actually finish off the rest of the stuff I need to do, I can finally get my proper hood that I was after. So, Psyker will suffer because of them. I do think so, yeah. I do think that would actually probably happen as well. I think Psyker would suffer no matter which one, which type of hashtag other mage type characters that you add to that game, whether it be Diviner, the Navigator, or any of the others. It definitely would cause the Psyker to go out of style, and people would probably stop playing it as much. I mean, it's the same thing like what happened with the Veteran and the other classes with Mechanicus, and the Zealot kind of got outshadowed by the Arbitrator, and the, or do I think the Hive Scum beat the Zealot? I don't know. Both of them kind of are a little bit better than the Zealot. The Hive Scum's a little harder to use, but once you figure it out, now that I've figured out what my build for Ikit's supposed to be, yeah, it becomes quite hilarious. Like, when you see it in the next episode tomorrow, you're gonna laugh. You're like, what the frick has happened here? It's like, because I found out what the weapon I needed is. I went with the bone saw. Because I found out it naturally has two modes. I can either douse the blade in, like, purple goop, which causes brittleness to everything I slash, drawing their armor down every time I hit them, making it easier to take them out. Or I can douse it in complete chem poison / rat poison. And with the build that I'm going with is actually quite hilarious. Because I have a perk that's based on, for every enemy I have near me that's affected by chem toxin, I do like 15 to 20% more strength in my melee attacks. So it becomes quite stupid when you get a whole crowd of them poisoned. Which, also, there's a perk for making my rocket cause chem. So let's say I'm in a really bad rut, or the team's about to go down. I can literally take out the rocket, fire it, cause the entire room to be poisoned, and then I become a freight train. So it's like allowing me to kind of help defend the team and kind of keep us off the ropes of dying on the harder stuff. So quite hilarious. Diviner are the archmage to the Psyker mage, yeah, to the better mage. I mean, sadly, there's a lot of iterations you can say that are just better than the Psyker, because I do feel like the Psyker's the bottom of the pool. I hate to say that for the mage clash hashtag of Darktide. So, but you're right, both of them, it would still just as much ruin it. But it's not like the others had that happen to them, so it's not like that'd be a bad thing. It'd keep people playing. And I also do think to make people play this one a little bit more, two things I think need to happen with this game to make it a little bit more accessible for players to want to commit more to it. You see how long it took us to find some people for that match before we went in. One, more events, more PvE events, not just new levels and content, but events, kind of like the Sister Relic thing and things like that. Things you can get that might have a little area that spawns in more, and if you kill them, you get the stuff around it. And like I said earlier, this is a small little thing, but I think it does actually kind of make it annoying for a lot of players who want to just keep playing matches quickly. Don't make people go back to people's ships. Like them coming back to mine and they had to leave because I'm the only one who can start a mission. So they had to wait on me to do my equipment. Let's say you're just trying to get prestige and you're trying to build up gold for that prestige or unlock havoc points or do this. That's very annoying if you're having to wait on the host every single time you go back to the ship. Especially if they're still working on something new that they just got. So I do think a tip for lobby management would be we should all just go back to our individual ships unless I invite you on this menu up here, just like I do Darts. If that were it, when that happens, that's fine. Then it should create a squad that when the mission's over, we all come back together to the same ship, just like Dark Tide. But also, since they have to wait for me to get into the thing anyways, maybe you should also let them be able to suggest missions. Like, put them up there, just like in Dark Tide as well. Dark Tide definitely has the better lobby management than this game does. This has the better customization. It has its issues, but it still does have the better customization and skins. But I think Dark Tide wins out in the ease of access to multiplayer and getting in the matches and playing matches. And getting out and doing things and going back in. So I do think those two things for this game would cause this game to get a little bit more life back into it. Because I do worry this game's going to die off because of that, because it does feel... It's got a decent amount of levels, and I think it's enough levels at this point that it really could benefit from some events that just change the levels slightly. Siege mode is cool because it's got modifiers, but that's just more challenge mode than it is anything to get your havoc points. But you run into another dead wall even for that. What happens when the players got all of what they care about or has bought all of the havoc stuff? What do they do then? PvP? Just survival? Waves? It's like, that's cool, but that gets really boring really fast for a lot of players. So I do think that some events would bring some lifeblood back into this game too, that would get more people back in it as well. And then again, change the lobby to be, you just go back to your own individual ships. Unless you invite your friend or someone from that squad to your party directly. It would speed this game up quite a bit. So, remember the Psyker in Dawn of War that could create all those AoE abilities and has a personal barrier shield and can fire those large magic missiles? Oh, that's good. I did not know that's specifically what it was. I've seen like pictures of diviners and some of the. I knew the barrier. I remember the barrier. I didn't realize that's actually what that was in Dawn of War. Now I know. That's actually pretty terrifying. That definitely would destroy the Psyker's popularity. But so did all the other new DLC classes. They definitely made some of the original classes kind of inert. So. But fair, most people still play them anyways. After they do the DLC, they'll go back and make them if they don't have them, or they already had them, then they just went to the DLC characters. One or the other. If they can pop a shield around each individual teammate, Psyker's screwed. Yeah, because the Psyker shield is good, don't get me wrong, but because it's stationary, it can be kind of annoying for a melee character who has to stay moving and slashing, moving and slashing. For the tankier classes like Arbitrator, he's fine. He can literally just fight inside that bubble forever. But, like, for instance, the Hive Scum, and the Zealot to a certain extent as well. Probably more the Zealot has to move around more. Actually, I don't know. They're both kind of even that way. But, like, the Hive Scum is an example. I have to constantly kind of be knowing what's around me and moving and staying on the outer edges of certain things in the group while slashing and doing the poison damage in order to keep the momentum. Otherwise, if I get surrounded, I'm absolutely going to die. Because the Hive Scum has no toughness. Probably worse than I would have to say who is the worst in that one? The Psyker? Well, who was it? I forgot who the original worst toughness in that game was. But holy crud, I think the Hive Scum wins a little bit on that. Even the Mechanicus is tougher than the Hive Scum is when it comes to the toughness part. Like, when you start getting actually nailed, you get ripped apart pretty fast. Especially if it's 5 Ragers. You better be dodging, dodge, do not stop moving. Or they're going to take not only your whole toughness in about 2 hits, they're probably going to take half your health. Especially if there's, at least 3 of them can for sure do this. 5 is death if all of them are hitting you. You are going down in about 2 seconds. So, if they can create that AoE Soul Tornado of Doom, that would be funny. That'd probably be my favorite one if I was playing that class, because when it comes to my mages, I like aggressive mages. I'm not really a tanky mage and shielding kind of mage. I'd 100% have that tornado. Because I would love to just pop that in a group and just watch them start twirling around. It'd just be so hilarious and amusing. I'd 100% would play the Diviner pretty hard, to be fair. Especially now that I know specifically the abilities that I've seen that it can do firsthand. The hard way. So, that would definitely be something. I think that Darktide, I will say this, class-wise, I do think Darktide has more room to grow than Space Marine 2 does. This is why I think this game needs more events, because it's got less, it's in the way of player-based classes that aren't broken and wouldn't break the game too hard, like the Terminator and stuff we talked about. I do think the Space Marines have less choices. Whereas the Guardsmen, or the Darktide characters and classes you could add in there, kind of a few, to be fair. There's quite a lot from different spectrums that a lot of people do not know about because there's just that many. And it's like that you could just throw in there and people would probably play it and just check it out. So it has a lot more room to grow in that way, which is why I think it's ironic that it has more events than this game does. So. They're not adding Storm. No, I highly doubt it. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but I highly doubt it. And by the way, we don't mean Star Wars for anyone watching. Trust me, these will not miss. Like the Stormtroopers of Star Wars, the aim of a toddler. Stormtroopers of Warhammer, in the Imperium? Yeah. You see, that class is taking veterans back. Yeah. Yay. Yeah. I mean, the veteran already got kind of dumped on a little bit because of the Mechanicus and how good it is. So, yeah, you know how little veterans I see now? I still run into them, but only on, like, the lower levels and stuff like that. And the people just don't have the DLC, I guess you could say as well. But on average, it's a lot more there's a lot more robo toasters than there are veterans right now. So one could say it already got dumped a little bit on there and kind of got left behind a little bit. You add the stormtrooper, it ain't never, no one's gonna know its name. They're like, what's a veteran? I'm a stormtrooper. It will never be played. That DLC would probably be downloaded more than even the Mechanicus one. By a long shot. That's why it would obliterate them. Like you said, it's take her out behind the barn and let me load this up. Slayer hand. Boom! There'll be none left of that, sadly. Poor Gary would be forgotten. I'd have to make Gary the second. It's his son. It's his son with one of the sisters. Gary too. The better Gary. All these crazy names my brain came up with. Oh man. Adding his sister is doing the same to Zealot. You are right. Zealot will be completely forgotten if the sister gets added as well. It will be the equivalent as to the stormtrooper to the veteran. I still think they are going to do that though. I think that's most likely to happen. Since we keep getting hints of the sisters and many other things, and the new armor set they added to the premium side, and something tells me. So the Zealots soon to be left behind. But you know, hey. But like I said, as long as the game keeps being fun, and that's kind of, then you can say that it's a good idea to kind of for them to do that to a certain extent. That way it keeps it fresh. So anyone who has the DLC will just play the new class. Anyone who don't will play one of the older classes. Just like between Mechanicus and Veteran right now. So, but I do think a sister is on her way. I 100% believe that for Dark Tide, that we're going to get a sister at some point. It just feels like there's no way we can't. Just add both. Let's see. Just add both and do them all at the same time. Ogre will still be played. He's too big to be forgotten. Yeah, he's the only one who wields the heavy bolters. Although technically there are sisters who can do that. But will they go that far with it? Something tells me no. They won't give the sisters that just to keep the Ogrins safer. But I could be wrong. But I still think even then, I think people would still play the Ogrins. The Ogrins are just, another thing is the Ogrins' personalities and their banter and just how they are as a character. I just don't think anyone would ignore them fully. Once you've heard an Ogrin talk to his squad, even one time when you're in a match in Dark Tide, you can't help but want to play an Ogrin. Just because you feel bad for them, but you also kind of laugh and go, bro's sitting here in the ship trying to count his fingers. He's not sure how many he has. You see, sisters can't throw big rocks. That's true too. That rock is broken, by the way. James is able, even on some of the higher difficulties, James is able to, that rock is able to one-shot mutants. I'm like, here I am having to hit a mutant as Icket 4 to 5 times with my bone saw to kill the darn thing, unless I heavy it first. Then it's like 2, maybe 3 hits. But it's still not 1. Just this. So imagine this in your head. My hive scum cleaves a heavy attack into a mutant, does lots of damage, and still has to hit it once or twice. Ogre just tosses rock. It does make me laugh every time it happens. I'm like, bro. But I mean, I'm trying to think. Actually, realistically, how far apart was Hive Scum from, or no, Arbitrator from? Because I think Arbitrator was before Mechanicus. How far apart was the Arbitrator and the Mechanicus? Unless I had that backwards, and Hive Scum was actually after Arbitrator. There's nothing to replace the Ogre short of a Space Marine. Yeah, we know they're not going to do that. That's actually, I do think, a little too powerful at that point. Like, that's exactly why I think the Ogre is safe forever. Just for that reason alone, that they probably can't add a Space Marine to break the flood of game. I mean, you see what we're doing this. Now, granted, these aren't your run-of-the-mill Space Marines. But even a regular non-Primaris, regular Space Marine would run circles around that entire squad. So that's why I don't think they'll ever do that. Which, to be fair, that's fair. Because also they have their own game that we're in right now. So it's Police, Gangster, and Toaster. Oh, so what's Gangster and Toaster? How far apart was the Gangster from the Toaster? Because if it wasn't that far apart, you could realistically see them, if they did for some reason add a Stormtrooper, do the Sister and the Stormtrooper not too far apart from each other. Just to kind of feed into that, getting more player base into the game. I still think they should add something for the Psyker side of things. I do think that's what we're missing the most. Or something completely different, like we talked about, something that can summon things like Guardsmen or like a Commissar type situation that maybe buffs the team and things like that, or by, threatening them. Fire Strider holds the last missile to James's head. 6 months? That's not that bad. That's only half a year. It sounds like a lot, but realistically in DLC terms, that's not that much time. So, I can see them doing that. Let's see, or can execute a summoned guardsman for team buffs. That would be cool. That would be a good way to make it both, where it can use the guardsmen as fighting utensils or buffs. As you just said. It reminds the other squad members, hey, if you think I won't do what I just did to you, remember those were real guardsmen. You are all rejects. So if you think about that from their perspective, if you did have a Commissar class, yeah, definitely makes sense. But I do think there should be something like that. I do think that's the one missing mechanic. um, in Dark Tide the most that we don't really have. We have a pet character, which is the Arbitrator, that's also part tank. We have a hacker that has a skull with a gun, but mostly for hacking purposes, or an electrocution manager is what I would call that. Electrocute everyone in sight. And we have a crazy poison dealer and debuffer, because technically I do think the bone saw is the best weapon for the hive scum, just because you either can poison them with your basic melee, and after that, depending on which build you want to go for, or you can just put it on brittle mode, and every strike adds brittle stat to all the enemies you're hitting, making it easier for your teams to kill the things because they're getting debuffed. But there isn't really a buff class. The only one even close to this is the Zealot, and it only does this when it does its special, its super, or its main ability. And it pulls out that little thing that Tempting has, where it keeps your toughness up while it's going. That's really all we have. Also, did you ever see my comment on the trade-off of the class? Hold on, you talking about the original stream? When it came to the guardsman summoning thing? See it, then make sure you did. Yeah, see it in here. The original, yeah. I did see it. I did see it from what I remember. Because we were talking about like how to buff the guardsmen, wrong word. How to balance the guardsmen so you don't make that summoning them too good, right? Where you can either have less guardsmen that are more elite, or more guardsmen that are like paper cannons. They do damage, but goodness, they're gonna die if they get shot at. And also, this would play into the other thing too. Like, if there is a mechanic where you can take them out, maybe it's based on which version you have. Like, and then you get different types of things you can do. So if you have the two better guardsmen or elite guardsmen, then maybe instead of bopping one of them for a buff, maybe they're able to like. Oh, I didn't think about that. You know what you could do? You could make one of them turn into a bannerman. That's not in there. We all know how good that is. It's like, but that would only be available if you had the two elites. And then one would have to, and then even further upon that, it either would place it on the ground and it'd be stationary, and the two would fight within it, and then your team could be in it getting buffs. Kind of like how the Bulwark puts down a banner in this game. Or one has to hold the banner, and now you only have one elite guardsman, but you're getting a buff from the other guardsmen as well. And then the little dudes, like the cannon fodder ones, that's the standard commissar tree. You bop one, and then it gives like a temporary attack boost, like speed boost to all of the people in your squad and all that, something like that. What about a perk that takes your health and toughness from one guardsman? That would be good too. But I still think the issue is not the player itself. Unless if you die, the guardsmen just die automatically with you. Then maybe that would be fine. But I do feel like the issue with that is, if the guardsmen are still on their own individual basis, really, not really tough, but tough enough, you're basically increasing your squad tenfold. Because you already get 4 people. So this is why I say it can't be too many in general. Because let's say, just like with the toaster situation that happens a lot, let's say you get 4 of those. let's say the entire squad is commissars. And let's say the number is, we'll just throw out a random number. Let's say the number is 4. That's 16 guards. That ain't no joke. And even at 3, that's 12. So you see how that adds up exponentially really fast. This is why I think that sadly with the guardsman summoning one, could they ever make it more than 2? Because at least that's only 8 at most. It's still quite a few, but that's an extra squad almost, essentially, right? It's essentially 4 extra bodies. Well, I say that 8 technically. See, this is why this is why my brain goes, I do wonder how you would do that. Make it, could you even do 2? Would it have to be 1? But then if you do 1, how do you make it better in its own way? Well, not better, but unique in its own way versus the doggo from the arbitrator. Sure, it can shoot, the doggo can. But then again, the skull from the Scutari shoots at things. So, it's like, how do you do that without sending the game into a tornado of chaos? See, Crushers and Reapers, that's true. I mean, the ones but that's once again assuming you're not going to be allowed to do elite guards that can just body a Reaper in like a few shots, or like you said, a Crusher and things like that. At that point, they'd have to be regular guardsmen at all times. Maybe you can give them better equipment, but they never get better health, right? They'd always be able to be bodied by more of the elites if they get caught out. Or if you summon them at the wrong time, like a ton of Ragers come busting in and just start slashing through them. Which would at least then it'd be accurate to what happens to the guardsmen quite often during wars. So, you see, but I guarantee people will take a horde of this to the business. 100%, especially that one map where it actually is the drill. I assume that's what you mean. It's like, they're gonna go to that one specific map because it looks the most like what the guard you see when you think about the guardsmen's fights, which is where you're defending that the 43rd's tank through that one map. That would be a hilarious mission for that, because it would look so aesthetically pleasing, because it would just perfectly fit to what they're kind of their play, how they fight, how the guardsmen kind of build their entrenchments and fortifications and things as they move forward and stuff like that. Much like real war or the original World War I style of way of fighting, but in the future, the far future 40K. I already like that mission in general. It is one of the more fun-looking missions, and just level design-wise. Because a lot of them are just a hive. It's always the rusted metal, the platforming, and all that. It's always very similar. That mission was very refreshing that was different. That and the train mission would be hilarious too. But especially since that one's a rush fest. You'd be summoning it. You'd be getting so many guards killed just trying to rush through there, getting your guards in there to help fight off while you're disarming the bombs. Both those missions would probably be some of the best missions for that class to have the most fun with it. Okay, let's say you can sacrifice all but one of them for a medic that can get you up, but only has a basic last pistol and less health. That would be cool. I think that'd be a good one of the perks you could get. That'd be a fun perk that you can unlock. And that's what I was kind of talking about, changing their equipment kind of setup, is what I was talking about. Like, or maybe a plasma wielding guardsman that has a plasma rifle that can fire and take out a little bit more bigger hordes, but he's the only one you have, but has the same health. Now you have one less guardsman. There's definitely different ways they can play that. That's what I think the best way to make that playable and still be really cool of a class and actually something people would do. And not feel like it's either underpowered or overpowered. You're definitely onto something with that. That's what I was thinking with a lot of that. It's like, change the number between 2 and 1, depending on the equipment you're giving them, what type of things they can do, like medic, like it can pick you up without you having to worry about someone else doing it, but it's only got a last pistol, and it can definitely be bodied if it's not careful. So or once again, maybe there's a sniper variant that can get like a sniper light rifle, but once again, there's only one, but it can sit back and kind of cover you a little bit better against some of the other snipers. And there's something they also definitely need to do. They need to borrow the arbitrator's mechanic, that when I mark something, they should focus shooting on that. Because I do feel like that would be the best bet to kind of maximize efficiency with it. Because if you're going to give that kind of mechanic of any kind, you can kind of do this with the servo skull too a little bit, to be fair, from what I can tell. It does seem to prioritize what I'm marking. And it's like, so, same thing with them. They would focus fire on like, oh, there's a crusher coming in. I want you guardsmen to shoot at that. Things like that. Like pistols and melees, pistols, yeah. Your weaponry for the base class will be restricted because most damage is the guard. Yeah, I do think that you definitely should be melee and pistols only. If you're going to be relying on the guards as your primary weapon, almost as if they're your primary, that's actually a good call. That's a good idea. That's a good suggestion for them, for Dark Tide, for that class. They become your primary, so it'd be better to just have a melee and a pistol. That way you're not super broken, like a single pistol. Not a double pistol like the Hive Scum gets. Basically, you can pull out, get it. You have access to basically all the pistols in the game that aren't dual wielding. And you get to pick and choose which one you prefer for your playstyle. And the other weapon is a melee weapon. Probably a sword, predominantly. I like a lot of the Devil Claw swords and all that. Because I feel like that sword doesn't get used a lot. And some of those swords look literally like the Commissar swords that the Commissars have. So, that would be a good call. It definitely would be interesting. I mean, a melee pistol dual wield to have some versatility. Oh, yeah, that's true. That is what a lot of commissars technically do when they're fighting. They'll have a last pistol or some sort of pistol in one hand and the melee in the other. They would be the first to do that. You might be right. Maybe that should be their main thing. And maybe, you know what? Then maybe the guardsman should be your other slot. You know how you can customize your weapon here, right? This is gonna actually, no, that might work. And that's how it changes the way it behaves. And what type of guardsmen you have and how many. Maybe the guardsman should literally be your primary slot. Like, instead of there being a gun there, it's a guardsman. And you click on it and you give it, and you can buy a different, it's not bad I mean, this is an equipment way, but I mean, technically it's Warhammer. That's all I'll say. But you can buy different guardsman variants. Like you said, you can buy a medic type that's less about damage, more about healing you, or maybe picking you up, rather, different things like that. Or you can buy like I said, an AoE plasma guardsman, wielding guardsman, or your standard last guardsman. Recon, maybe even a recon last guardsman for more rapid fire control. Because if it does become your primary, that would be interesting. Because then you can play with they can play with the talents tree a lot more with that. Oh yeah, the Hellgun guardsman. That would be interesting. I'd like if you wanted to go more of a support heavy kind of that would be fun. I do think that one would definitely be an interesting option. Of course, once again, you'd only have one for one of those, but maybe it should just be one guardsman in general. But maybe instead of them having, I'm trying to think how, if we're gonna make it a primary instead of it being a summonable, like it's always there, should it be killable at that point? Because I feel like I'm trying to think like how. Like you take it down from 2 to 1, but it can't be killed. It's always there. Kind of like the doggo, but you have to command it to do different things with it. Or maybe your ability is you get a second one. Like you can call in a second one for a certain amount of time. But then they go away, like they retreat into a door. Right? Like they go off like, alright, we've secured this area, we're gonna go move to the next area, commissar, or whatever. I'm just making up, stuff to make it make sense for the gameplay loop. Like maybe your R1 is you call extra in, and then they go away after a certain amount of time, but you keep one at all times. That might work. Although then I guess, well, no, because then that would make it a ranged version of what the arbitrator is. It wouldn't be as tanky, but that's fine because it'd be more DPS oriented. Because it'd be about guns, range. So there's many different ways I think they can do that. I don't know whether they do that or not at some point. Something tells me maybe not, but it would be a cool concept, and I do think it'd be a cool way to emphasize the Imperial Guard and the way they kind of behave naturally, anyways, as a class in Guard type. Since we already have a commissar on the ship, it's not like that's would be unheard of. There's not. How did we give a commissar when there's not one even in the story? There's literally one on the deck of the ship who yells at us when we go over there to the what's it called mission. I guess they did do it for Vermintide, huh? So yeah, then why not? I do think that's something they should think about. That would be a cool class. Yeah, I think that would work. But, alright. I'm gonna temporarily log out of this. I might do a little bit of this later tonight before I go to bed. Maybe do another random do another match with some randoms. Just get a little bit more XP into the Tech Marine, since he's the lowest of all my except for the heavy. He's the lowest of all my classes. That character summoned 6. Oh, right, it did. It was 6 of them, huh? Strong enough to be noticeable but not overwhelming. Yeah. And like I said, what it should be is that you have one at all times just to help defend you and fight with you, but your R1 calls in the extra batch. And there are two ways that ability can end. One, it runs out of time and they run through one of the reinforcement doors the enemies can come out of, just for animation's sake, so they don't just vanish. And you don't have to make a ship fly in to pick them up, because that's just too much. Or they die. Like, those can die. Like, the ones you summon in, those definitely can die. Like, if they get overwhelmed, they get absolutely messed up. But you always get to keep the one that's your bodyguard, right? Your body. And I think isn't that a thing with most commissars? They always have some sort of right-hand kind of guardsman that is always kind of near them. Kind of like, what's his name, Wolfer, and how that, even though he didn't like him, how he was with the commissar he was serving, he was kind of, most of the time, near him. Not always. But, so it's kind of like that, kind of play into it, and it would kind of show from Wolfer's perspective what that was like. Blood for the Blood God. Welcome, Food Dog. You got the very end of the stream, but welcome. Or they're permanent, but average enemy streams get die. Yeah, but how would you get them back, though? See, I don't think the bigger squad should be permanent. I do think at least one guardsman should be immortal. But I think the other, however many you can bring in, because at that point, because here's the thing I don't think they'll do, and this is why I'm doing it this way rather than it being all of them are permanent, but they can die. Is it's either they'd have to be on a cooldown, a really fast one, but then you'd have to argue to yourself, but then that takes away from its ability being able to do something else. This is why I think at least one stays permanently, but like 3 others or maybe even 4 others at that point, because then since they're temporary and the one's not, it's not as overpowered. Because if you're smart with it, you would call them in before a wave hits you, get into a good position with your team, and then the guardsman could help you light up what's running at you and or whatever weapons that they have. So. Oh, hey, what's up, bro? I didn't know that was your name. Your name on YouTube. Yo, what's up, brother? Welcome. Welcome. You did miss the tech marine. We were using an automatic servo skull gun to blow away space bugs, aka the Tyranid. But let's see, correction. I mean, they have no timer on how long they stay, but they're weaker than your one, and they're killable. Oh, okay. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. And you won't be able to call more in until they're all dead, because then someone would figure out a way to keep them alive and get like 20 of them on the screen. You know somebody would. But it's like, but yeah, I agree with that. That they would be permanent until they die, because at some point they would get overwhelmed. So. But we'll be doing Dark Tide tomorrow, though, to show off some more of the Hive Scum class. And then Space Marine 2, we'll be doing more of that Wednesday or Thursday when James is able to join in. Unless I unlock some crazy stuff and want to show off the Tech Marine again this week before that happens. Or if Tam King's able to join us this week at some point. We'll also do an earlier episode. Allow it, let someone get 100. No, that's gonna break the game. Because if one can do it, the whole squad can do it. And that exponentially gets kind of out of hand to the point you have your own horde. And I have a feeling for Dark Tide servers and the way they kind of already are a bit quirky, gonna break entirely. Because I'd be trying to actually get the guardsman tactic to happen. I'd be like, good luck. I brought my own army. See, let the mute rush through. That would be funny to watch. Although I do feel like with that many, they're gonna gun it down, even if a couple of them got taken out in the rush. They're gonna gun it down before it gets to you. It would be funny to see a bunch of ragers run through that, though. They're just trying to hack their way through a sea of guards in between me and them. Be fantastic. But once again, I think that'd break the game. Bomber will fix that number real quick. Okay, I'll give you that. That's the, but there's, since those aren't always prevalent, I still think it's a little crazy. I do think, like you said, though, I think the best bet, now that I understood what you said earlier, is let them come in, be permanent, until they die, except for your bodyguard one. That's part of your, basically, your weapon loadout. Which is very strange to say that like that. But I do think the bomber will be the worst thing you have to deal with that class, though. The way your character works, I do think they will be the most deficit to your tactics. The biggest deficit you can talk about to your tactics with that class. So, and see, at maximum, there will be 20 of them with all people. I do think that's about right. That's why I said I think now that we've kind of worked out that you get to keep one permanently and the others are temporary based on they have barely any health and they do less damage than your bodyguard one does, but they're there to kind of just add on to the number. I do think it'll be about 20 because even like I said, 4 to 4, that's 16. That's basically 20. Or they could do 5 and just make it a flat 20. Because I do think 20 wouldn't be that many. It sounds like a lot, but if they have no health and can die in almost single shots, when the Horde's really down upon you in that game in Darktide, yeah, they probably still wouldn't last that long even for 20. They'd cut through that pretty quick, especially depending on what's coming at you and what difficulty you're on. The higher difficulty, the more the enemy has more HP. So if they're not doing that much damage, realistically, they're not going to body like 8 Ragers, even with 20. They'll probably take out half the guard before they get rid of those 8 Ragers. Maybe more. But anyways. Hey, big shout out to my brother joining in tonight. My brain's a little slow today. Joining in the chat tonight. And also, massive shout out to my moderator, Urban McFarsier, and to Sir Sealy floating out there somewhere in the Florida waters. He's probably back in classes again at this point, so he's probably busy. We're trying to learn how to build Teo AIs, which we must prevent. So, it's like, so big shout out to him as well, and everyone else who joined and watched in the background as well. Tomorrow we'll be doing Darktide. Tuesday, we'll probably keep finishing up Darktide until Wednesday and Thursday. Then we'll switch back to Space Marine 2 for sure on Wednesday and Thursday. And then by the end of this week, we're going to switch gears to me chasing down that one-winged bastard. So, it's like, and also, you know, lifting weights with the greatest lady of them all. I'm breaking my mind in that mini game again. but it's like, but we'll be doing that later this week. Probably if I had to guess, Friday or Saturday is when I'm going to try to start that, so we can alter history this time. Can't wait till we finally get part 3 though, so we can get to the very, very end. I get to relive the torment that is the final boss in that game, but in, you know, spectacular HD. It'll be a very different fight with a hack and slash mechanic unless we decide to lock ourselves in the turn-based. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. Do we? I actually want to vote on that throughout this week, but we'll start that vote tomorrow. Do we do turn-based for Final Fantasy VII? Or do we just do with the modern mechanics and let it become the hack and slash that it's become? I'm on the fence because I like both, because I grew up on the classic, but also I'm not against the hack and slash because it is pretty fun. But since we didn't get to finish it, I'm really eager to go back to it. Let's see. Also, to answer the beginning of the stream question, who can move faster than Blake? We won't know when we won't know when we die. They made me way too strong in Fate. Way too strong. We need some balance with the scales. That one was for ceiling. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed watching tonight's stream. Like I said, big shout out to my brother joining in tonight. Food Dog, aka Godance. He's the Dante to my Virgil, just to let you know. For anyone who's not, it doesn't know who he is. But big shout out. Hey, look, there's the Sealy. Look, the moment I talked about Teo AI, I like how it just popped out of nowhere. Go back to hibernating in the Florida water, Sealy. But it's like, but I will stop that AI if you dare create that thing. I will personally come down to Florida and deal with it myself. I was sleeping. Oh, so you were sleeping. If it was Fate Anubis, we also wouldn't know when we die. I know that, but it still wouldn't be cuckoo with the way they made him. Not if I had my way with it, if they could merge stuff into Fate. If I was designing that game, oh yeah, I would give it a skin that would be literally the divine balancer. So that way it would literally be a play on words against cuckoo. But anyways, by the way, I have a quick question. What's up, Sealy? What's up? I like how everyone joined into the stream. Now I feel bad that we didn't do another match. But we've got a lot more space for it to go this week anyways, but lore-wise and gameplay-wise, Cuckoo is busted. Not lore-wise. There's things, like I said, Anubis' lore in real life can handle it. Now, gameplay-wise, like, I didn't make the game, so I can't decide that. Anyways, are we doing any NTE this week? Because the 8th is when we... Oh, is it the 8th? When is the 8th? Let me look real quick. We might make one of those days NTE then. Hold on. The 8th is Wednesday and Thursday. Alright, we'll do it this way. If James is not here on Wednesday and he ends up being here Thursday, we'll do NTE on Wednesday. Because James is supposed to be here either Wednesday or Thursday to join in for Space Marine and some more Dark Tide and all that for our co-op missions and stuff like that. So if he's not there for that, we'll do NTE. And we'll show off the tabletop stuff and the new stuff they added. But if he is here, I have to do Space Marine or Dark Tide that day. And then we'll move it to Thursday. Unless he's here for both days, and I kind of have to keep both of those open. Since he doesn't get but like 2 days off at a time most of the time. Let's see. Fate lore, not IRO. Fate Cuckoo and lore is one of the most busted things because, oh yeah, I don't know all the Fate lore, so okay. I didn't realize you meant inside of Fate lore. I thought you meant Nairo. But you see, in Fate lore, Cuckoo is busted like stronger than Tiamat busted, and we all know how busted they made her in Fate. You all know more than I do about Fate, but I mean, I know how busted Tiamat is most of the time in things, so that's pretty scary to be fair. But either way. Alright, well, I'm gonna get off here to the chat before it gets too late. Like I said, big shout out to everyone that joined in tonight. Hope to see y'all for Dark Tide tomorrow. Tomorrow after I get back from my doctor. My new doctor appointment. And then Tuesday's Dark Tide. Wednesday is either NTE or Space Marine 2. And Thursday is also NTE or Space Marine 2, depending on James' schedule. If we don't get to do NTE on either of those days, we'll do it on Friday. And then Saturday I'll start Final Fantasy VII. Because I am intending to have Dark Tide done this week. This is why we're doing back-to-back episodes tomorrow and Tuesday. We're going to start with Ikit because he's the closest to being level 30. I'm going to work on him a little bit tonight after I get off here. Just to get him where I want him to be so he's reasonably ready to go. Liliana's going to be kind of the biggest problem because she's fallen behind a little bit. She's either 17 or 18, level 17 or 18, where Ikit's 19, about to be 20. He's literally right there at the door of 20. I got like 100 XP I got left on from him leveling up in the last time I was on there. So he's basically level 20. So he'll definitely be finished by probably tomorrow's episode. Because I'm going to do him first, and then off camera, I'm going to get Liliana up to 20 and finish her Tuesday, hopefully. So, that is the plan. Witness your nightmare, are not Zeus, with world-breaking lightning bolts. No. I'm gonna go get Kratos. That makes me mad. I don't mind Cuckoo being busted because Cuckoo is at least generally a cool character, even though I am biased towards the doggo of the scales of balance. But no, Bolt Boy does not need to be that busted. Someone get called Kratos. Anyways, Zeus is chump change compared to Cuckoo if you give her a ORT. What can I say? Zeus is so cracked though. He has conceptual damage and defenses like anti-space-time. Anti-solar system and anti-life. Why does Zeus have anti-life? Bro is just lightning. Definitely calling Kratos. It's getting out of hand. But anyways. See, Wukong having immortality makes sense. I don't like Zeus having anti-life. That just makes me go. I mean, yeah, if he hits someone with a lightning bolt, technically that's anti-life because you destroy them. I mean, I'm like, but actually having the power of anti-life, I'm like, you know. It sounds like something like Protos or some of the other like time gods and things like that should have, not him. But anyways, or actual gods of life and goddesses. Either way, it's because Zeus is not the traditional Greek god of IRL. They made him something else entirely. They juiced him hard. Oh man! Somebody get Kratos and Fate, turn him into a crazy alternate version that's like a universe breaker. And send him after Zeus again. But anyways, alright, I'm gonna get out of here. I've been talking too long. But that is our schedule for this week for our rundown from from our Sunday episode. So, one last iteration. Dark Tide tomorrow, Dark Tide Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday is either Space Marine 2 or NTE, depending on James's schedule. Friday is going to be will either be Final Fantasy or NTE, and Saturday will be guaranteed to be Final Fantasy 7 Remake, so we can get to Rebirth. I already have it. I bought it while it was on sale. So we just got to finish the one we didn't get to finish. Which we were right there. It still makes me mad. We were literally about to escape Midgard. We were right there. And my PS5 imploded. The original one. Oh, no. I don't want that to happen again. But anyway. In Fate, the 12 Olympian nuts are by the title of Dreadnought guns. Take the literal or figuratively as you will. Wow. Well, at least that means Kratos, if he wasn't technically an official Greek god, he'd be just as busted, which means he'd be my solution to all that problem. Just like, but anyway. Can't wait for Aphrodite to be added. That's just, I don't even want to know what they're going to do with that. My brain goes so many places what that could probably mean for her in that game. But anyways, if you think Zeus is busted or not, Greek chaos is... Okay. Well, alright, chat. Big shout out to everyone that joined in tonight. And everyone watching in the background. I will see you all tomorrow for Dark Tide. Until next time, hope you all have a good one. And until next time, bye. Until next time, see you tomorrow, chat. Bye, everyone. Bye, Celine. Bye, Des. Bye, Farseer. Bye, everyone watching. And everyone who catches the VOD. Hope you enjoyed the VOD as well. Until next time. Bye.